Hello, I'm Jim Skelly. I wish that I could be with all of you today in El Paso, and not just because the weather in El Paso is undoubtedly much better than it is here in Ireland. You're engaged in an important discussion today, and I therefore do wish that I'd been able to be physically present and to also speak with you in Spanish to the extent that that would facilitate discussions. So I'll do the best I can using the medium of video and subtitles to briefly talk with you about our project, The Global Conversation, which may inform your own future discussions. Before I do that, however, I want to thank Roberto Rodriguez Hernandez, the Consul General of Mexico in El Paso, and my good friend Everett Egginton from New Mexico State University for including me in your meeting today. What I want to talk to you about are some of the dilemmas that we face in trying to create a more peaceful and just world. As a species, humans are in very big trouble. I think most of us know this intuitively, but since we feel unable to do anything about the problems we face, generally speaking, we prefer not to think about them. Without question, we haven't learned how to live on this planet, in spite of the fact that we have cars, televisions, mobile telephones, refrigerators, and even airplanes to fly about the sky in. We really haven't learned how to live properly on our piece of the universe, planet Earth. We haven't learned to live in harmony with the other species on the planet, and this is all too evident in places like Afghanistan, Iraq, and here in Northern Ireland, as well as in the United States and Mexico. We haven't even learned how to live pacifically with other members of our own species. And I know that is a particular concern for those of you living in proximity to the border that separates the United States and Mexico, but which in reality does not separate them except in the most formal of terms. One of the things I say to students, and I'll say it to you today, is that we need to connect the dots about how we're living on this planet of ours. We need to see the connections between the various problems we're facing on our planet, because if we don't, we won't be able to come up with truly comprehensive solutions. And in my mind, the species is at considerable risk. All of us need individually to ask the question that one of my students repeatedly asks: how ought I to live? It is this question, how ought I to live, in the face of the problems we humans have created on this planet, that is at the core of the work in the course that I've developed with others called The Global Conversation. Whether the issue is food, water, energy, population growth, pollution, or climate change, we need to see the connections, and we need to discuss them with each other to come up with viable solutions. For example, about 1 billion people on our planet don't get enough food to eat every day, while at the same time, enough food to feed 1.5 billion people is actually thrown away in the United States and the United Kingdom together, each and every day. In addition, last year the United States used 25% of its grain production for fuel, while globally food prices were, of course, rising astronomically. 8 of the poorest countries in the world saw the price of staple foods like rice and maize increase from 24 to 61%. All of this is connected. Food insecurity in Mexico, for example, is increasing because of a variety of linked factors, including water shortages, energy costs, increasing desertification from climate change, and various regional and global economic arrangements. Food reserves globally have been shrinking, and 2008 saw numerous food riots throughout the world. Even in a rich country like the United States, 1 in 6 people went hungry in the year 2008. Why is this so? We need to look at our economic system and how its very structure contributes to the various problems we face. For example, should the makers of soft drinks use 3 liters or more of water to make 1 liter of something sweet for us to drink, in areas where farmers are actually facing droughts? This has been the case in India, but it's true in many other parts of the world as well. Coca-Cola, for example, wants to have a green reputation, and therefore it's spending money to support the water resources near where you are today. The Rio Grande, or as the Irish prefer to call it, the Rio Bravo. But the question is, do you really need a Coca-Cola? Or will it just do to drink water? Can we as a species afford to make drinks like Coca-Cola, given the use of such fundamental resources? The World Health Organization estimates that nearly 900 people, The World Health Organization estimates that nearly 900 million people are without access to safe drinking water. 4,000 children die every day from polluted water. Do we want to be like Marie Antoinette and say, let them drink Coke? I don't think so. Do we think it's all right that in order to make the delicacy known as shark fin soup from los tiburones, the sharks in Asian countries, that fishermen catch the sharks, cut off their fins, and throw them back into the sea to die? How many are killed this way every day? On average, about 10,000 sharks are killed for their fins every day. How many more cars can China add to its roads? A few million? What do you think? We'll do the mathematics. China adds between 14 and 15,000 additional cars to its roads each and every day. Are there any limits